this panel, and deep gratitude to Sadhviji for having the commitment to bring us all together, but also the commitment to particularly having a session on the ecology. Because we may be together, we may be together in peace, we may be together dialoguing, but if the earth is on fire or we have no water to drink, it's very difficult to keep coming together in peace. So I'm so grateful that you had the foresight to realize the critical importance of the ecology. My favorite story on this that I'll begin with quickly is the story of the 3 men who are stranded on a boat in the middle of the ocean. And they start to fight naturally, as people do when they're stressed. And so in order to decrease the fighting, they divide the boat into 3 equal compartments so that each man can have his own 1/3 of the boat. And one day, 2 of the men look over and they notice that a leak has sprung in the 3rd man's part of the boat. And they say to him, "Stop up the leak. We're going to sink. We're all going to drown." And the 3rd man says very casually, "Oh, well, don't worry. It's only leaking in my part of the boat." And I love that story because sitting in the privileged world, it's very easy to feel like we are on the safe side of imaginary and invisible lines. But just like a leak in any part of the boat is going to bring the entire boat down, we are currently in a situation, as Jeffrey Sachs just explained so beautifully and so brilliantly, where that boat is sinking. And it's important, though, for us to realize it's not Mother Earth we're saving. So frequently you hear people say, "Oh, we need to save the planet." The planet's going to be fine. The planet survived the Ice Age. The planet survived having oceans that were 8 meters higher. The planet will survive. The planet does not require this very tenuous ratio of oxygen and carbon dioxide and hydrogen and nitrogen. It's us. It's saving ourselves. Like the ocean will be fine when the boat sinks, but the people on the boat will not be fine. And so it's important for us to realize that it literally is ourselves we are saving. There's a beautiful teaching in the Hindu tradition, in the Upanishads, that says, "Isha vasyamidam sarvam, yat kincha jagatyam jagat, tena tepena bunjita, magrida kasis vidhanam." And what it means is the entire universe is pervaded by the divine. There's no one, nothing not pervaded by the divine. Therefore, use only that which you absolutely need. Realize it is not yours. It belongs to the divine, not to us. I think about parents all over the world. I live in India, but wherever you go in the world, you talk to parents and you hear basically the same story. I get up every day, I go to work, I'm doing a job I usually don't like, but I do it because I want to give my children a better life. I want to give my children a good education. I want to give my children opportunity. I want to give my children the items that they want to buy. And yet, how many parents are actually thinking about the water their children will have to drink, the air their children will have to breathe? It's wonderful that we're getting up every day and going to work to give our children education and opportunities and clothes and cars. no air to breathe, if their soil is toxic, we haven't given them much. And what that means to me is if the parents of the world could commit to taking a tiny percentage of the amount of time that they spend earning dollars and euros and pounds and rupees every day to give their children, and put that time and energy into ensuring that along with the opportunity and education and money and cars and possessions, their children actually had water and air, we could really give them a world that was healthy, that was positive, not just in terms of feedback loops, but actually qualitatively positive to live in. We come together here in Madrid and in so many conferences all over the world in the name of peace. But it's essential today, and I say this from the perspective of the world of faith, it's essential for the faith leaders of the world, for the faith actors of the world, for the believers of the world, to expand our definition of peace. There was a time in the past where it was enough simply to say, "Thou shalt not kill." But today, more people are suffering and dying due to lack of clean water than due to all forms of violence combined. Take war, take terrorism, take domestic violence, take gender-based violence, take drug-induced violence. Add them together. The number of people suffering and dying still pales in comparison to those who are suffering and dying simply due to lack of clean water. By 2040, according to the United Nations, we will have only half of the water on planet Earth that we need, and up to hundreds of millions of water refugees. 2040 is basically tomorrow. Does anybody feel like the last 20 years have gone really slowly? Right? Time flies so quickly. We look back, oh my God, I was 15 yesterday. How is it possible? That was so long ago. 2040 is tomorrow. We will have half the water we need. So when we talk about peace, it's essential that we now start talking about a peace that is not simply "thou shalt not bomb, knife, poison," but also in which the children of every race, of every religion, of every color, of every culture have access to clean water, to clean air, to clean soil. There was a time, perhaps, in which our choices, our lifestyles, what we eat, how we shop, were simply freedom. Freedom to choose. Freedom to have a lifestyle. We're no longer at that place. Jeffrey spoke beautifully about aspects of animal agriculture, vegetarianism. I'm going to give another few statistics on that. But before I do, I want to just give you an example, because I know when we start talking about our diets, it feels very personal to people. People feel, well, that's my right. I have a right to eat whatever I want. I have a right to buy whatever I want. And we do theoretically. In theory, yes, absolutely. We have that right. And yet we are today at a place in which we have to realize that other people's right to exist at all trumps, no pun intended, our right to make whatever lifestyle choices we want. And the way that I think about it is, for example, this arm of mine. It's mine. I have a right to do with it whatever I want. And if what I want to do with my arm is go like this, well, that's all right. It's my arm. I can do this. I could say it's exercise, whatever. But if you're standing right in front of me, and every time I do this, I bop you on the nose, then suddenly my right to do this with my arm no longer exists, because your right to not have a broken nose must be more important than my right to do whatever I want to do with my arm. 77% of the land on planet Earth that is being used for agriculture is not being used to grow food for people. It is being used to grow what we call animal agriculture, which is the cows and the chickens and the pigs to become our hamburgers and our hot dogs and our chicken McNuggets, and to grow the food that they will eat. Almost 1 billion people sleep hungry every night, and about 25,000 people die of starvation every day. And we are using 77% of our agriculture land to grow food so that we have the freedom, the luxury, to eat hamburgers, hot dogs, and chicken McNuggets. I want to give one other statistic. I could do this all day, but I only have 2 minutes left. So one other quick statistic on this is, as I shared about water. So how many of you turn off the tap while you brush your teeth? Raise your hand if you turn off the tap while you brush your teeth. Okay, that's great. I wish everybody did it. You save a couple liters of water. I'm sorry, I took the translation a moment. Thank you. You save a few liters of water. Now, the amount of water that goes into the production of one meal of beef, you and some friends, you and your family sit down to hamburgers. That is the amount of water that you use in bathing for 6 months. 6 months. So the question we have to ask ourselves, if we care about the water of the planet, is, am I prepared to refrain from bathing for 6 months in order to offset the water usage of that meal of hamburgers? Chicken is about a third. Now, I share these with you because so much of what is happening in the world is disheartening, it's terrifying, it makes us sad, it makes us feel hopeless and helpless. Here is something that actually, every single day, we have the possibility to be the change. We have the possibility to make a difference. Mahatma Gandhi said so beautifully, we must be the change that we want to see in the world. We are facing global water shortages, land shortages, food shortages. But mostly what we are facing is a global consciousness shortage. And if we together, the people of faith, can commit to raising our consciousness, to expanding our consciousness beyond walls and borders and boundaries of race, religion, color, culture, haves, have-nots, into a consciousness of oneness, of connection. The land shortage, the water shortage, the food shortage will become under our control. Lastly, St. Francis of Assisi, just to switch faith traditions in closing. St. Francis of Assisi gave us the beautiful prayer of, O Lord, make me an instrument of thy mercy. And to me, it's one of the most beautiful prayers. We don't have time to go through the whole thing, but I conclude with this because our choices, what we eat, how we shop, is it organic, is it fair trade, is it all of the different ways that we have now and hopefully will have in the future to make conscious choices. We have the opportunity to be instruments of mercy, instruments of peace, and instruments of environmental sustainability. Instruments to give our children and our grandchildren and the future of this planet a healthy world to live in. Thank you.
dall'India, un grande paese, di grande sviluppo, ma anche con tante fatiche. Quello che lei ci ha detto, credo, sono tante cose. Noi abbiamo la possibilità di essere responsabili del cambiamento. Credo che noi dobbiamo assumerci questa responsabilità come religioni, ma anche come uomini e donne che sono di fronte a questa grande sfida che è i cambiamenti climatici, tutto ciò che attiene ai problemi del creato di cui abbiamo ascoltato dai nostri relatori. Grazie.